right, guys, so let's talk about our beginner footwork, just the start of being able to understand footwork as a beginner, okay? The analogy that I like to use is when you're being a beginner in fighting, the technical piece is really, really important. Like understanding how to do things correctly in your body and in accordance to your partner is really important in understanding, okay? It's a lot more important than the conceptual piece of fighting because like the analogy that I'll use is if I'm going to be a soldier, like have a gun, go and kill people, I need to be able to know how to shoot that gun when I'm moving, when I'm stationary. I need to know how to shoot a different type of couple of guns. I don't necessarily need to know like all of the formations or how to go into a room and clear the room. That's more of a concept and a strategy and things like that, which comes later. First, you need to know how to shoot the actual gun. So all of this beginner course is just going to be technical pieces of how to be able to move your feet correctly. And like I said, they're not super complex things. They're pretty simple things, but when you stack them on top of each other, make them really dynamic, do them in all the right situations and have perfect timing when you do all of them, that's what makes super awesome fighting. So let's get into a little bit of our beginner footworks. The first one that I like to do with people is I like to have them stand in a stance, whatever's natural to you as long as it's not dumb, okay? I'm just kidding, but as long as it's not too wonky. Like don't stand like this, okay? No one in all of martial arts history has never fought someone like this, okay? Also, don't stand super weird and square like this. Do more or less of a hybrid stance. I found that that's just a better way to have 360 degrees available to you. So we're in a hybrid stance, we're in our stance, and I want us rocking our weight, okay? I used to do this where I would have people jump, but I don't like the jump as much because it creates bad habits. The more, like I was talking about in the biomechanics piece, the more you're hopping up in the air, the more you're unattaching yourself to the floor, which like I said, is just gonna make you a little bit slower. I want you rocking in your weight here like this, okay? Not super big, not like Tyson. Everyone likes to, again, talk about how Tyson moves and like this, and it's like, dude, 99% chance you're not built like Mike Tyson. Maybe don't try to move like Mike Tyson, okay? I know it's like fun or whatever, but this doesn't work for me because I'm not, Mike Tyson build guy, all right? I'm skinny, pale, Corey build guy. So I rock in my stance. I'm here like this, and all we're gonna work on is just learning how to carve into the floor and throw punches, okay? I'm rocking. When I rock onto this side, my power is here. If I try to drive off with my back foot where there isn't a lot of weight, I'm not gonna have a lot of success. I can do it, but it's inefficient. When I'm on my front leg and I have a lot of weight into that leg, that's where my power is. So we're gonna shove ourselves to our right, boom, glue, and then throw our cross hook, okay? I'm rocking in my stance. I get heavy here, rotate, I get a little bit heavier here, as if I was doing like a juke move in basketball or sports of some sort. I push off again, throw my cross hook. And all the time, I'm throwing my punch and stopping myself. Throwing my punch and stopping myself as we do this entire drill, okay? So again, to our right side. I shove, I stop, I shove, and I throw my two punches, and then I want us pushing ourselves back into the middle. It'll make more sense as I do it a little bit quicker. But if I'm going to the right, rocking, push off, cross hook, push off again, and I'm back into the middle. If I go right again, boom, 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 push back, and I'm in the middle. I always like to, whenever I teach any type of footwork, anything, pretend that there's a ceiling above your head and you're not hitting your ceiling. So when I'm in my good, powerful, athletic stance and I do anything, I don't want my head hitting the ceiling there. I pretend that it's right there on the ceiling and I keep it there whenever I'm doing any type of this footwork steps that we're gonna do, okay? So rocking in my stance, boom, 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 push, 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 push. Everything is a push. That's how you get power, is through your legs. Everything's a push. I say shove sometimes too. Shove your weight into the floor. I just use those interchangeably. But I'm pushing myself to do things, okay? That's to the right. Now when we go to the left, I load myself here. I push off. I trail my foot. I'm really loaded here. Punch, punch, push myself back into the middle. Again to the left. Push, 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 back into the middle here. Push, 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 back into the middle here. When I go forward, same idea. My weight is here. I shove myself in, throw my 1, throw my 2, push myself back. Shove, shove, push myself back. The floor's a little slippery here. I shove, boom, boom, push myself back. When I go backwards, I use this leg. Shove, 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 push myself back to where I was. And you can just do this, you know, on your own, as slow as you want. Right, left only, forward, back only. All 4 of them if you want. If you wanted just a drill to do it at home, I like going right, left, forward, back. So I'm rocking, boom, push, push, back, boom, push, push, here, boom, push, push, here, boom, push, push, here, back to rocking. I can go right again, boom, 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 forward, bang, bang, back, boom, 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 forward. Okay, so that's our first one. That one just demonstrates how you use your legs to carve into the floor. And then the punching piece isn't as important. Like even if you wanted to just scrap the punches and just go here, that's cool too. Whatever it is that you want to do, boom, boom. But it's just teaching you that power and carving into the floor is really important, and that's how you do it. So our next footwork drill isn't going to be in terms of like these kind of, I think that they look aesthetically really mechanical. So there is like the footwork drill that's out there where you step with each punch. Like if you've been to any kickboxing gym in the entire world, that's probably what they taught you. That to me is really mechanical, and that's okay. That's essentially what we were just doing when we were doing the in stance movement, okay? But there's also the footwork of gallops to close and open space too, okay? So our gallop, same idea. I keep this thing so that there's a ceiling right above my head. When I gallop, I don't let my head hit the ceiling. I'm in my stance. I take a little gallop forward with my right leg, push, and then land in my left leg. So if I do it really high and exaggerated, it looks like this. Forward and backwards, okay? Obviously, like I said before, the more you unconnect your feet from the floor, the slower and less reactive you're gonna become. So when I do this, I wanna keep myself low on the floor, forward and backwards, okay? I'm sure you guys have seen this plenty of times if you watch kickboxing fights. Someone throws a combination, boom, the person backs up, tiny gallops to close space a little bit easier than I land a combination, the person backs up, and I mechanically push myself forward like a weirdo, okay? Doesn't need to be like that. I throw, boom, tiny gallop, or I throw, I need to clear some space a little bit quicker than these tiny weird steps, and I need to gallop, but just being here, okay? It's a forward and backwards thing, just forward, just backwards, and we're just practicing our gallops, okay? Okay, so far we have our in stance rocking, we have our gallops. Now let's add in a couple of punches to our jab, jab, cross, which is really important to know how to do forward, okay? Here is where I like the mechanical steps, okay? With our gallops, while it's not super, like don't let it like ruin the technique for you, but when I am doing this, sometimes I can get a little bit too zealous and overload myself and close too much space too quickly. That's not good, okay? If I'm chasing someone with big gallops and they plant and I'm up in the air like this, I have to ground myself before I can punch, and I have to like say a prayer that this person isn't gonna punch me until I ground myself and can throw my own punches, okay? But when we're moving forward with a jab, jab, cross, I like to use those mechanical steps. So when I jab and step with my front foot, okay? Not too wide, not like this because you're gonna lose drive off of your back leg. It's just tiny. Boom, my back leg trails and it loads again so I can throw my jab again. Boom. On this second step, we're gonna bring our cross, okay? So when I jab, jab forward, tiny jab in, I don't let my head hit that ceiling that I'm imagining in my head. My right foot comes, I jab again, and then as this foot steps, I throw my cross, okay? So I'm here, jab, jab, cross. Moving, jab, jab, cross. Maybe I gallop back, jab, jab, cross. And again, the reason that that's better is because you have more of a stopper, because you're never uprooting yourself to the floor as much when I'm using these really tiny mechanical steps on my jab, jab, cross, okay? Don't stress too much about whether you're bringing your hand all the way back to your face. I know that that's like a super beginner question, but I know that a lot of you guys watching are really beginners. When you're jab, jabbing, as long as you're staying real protected here like this, it doesn't need to be, okay? It can stay like a half bring back as long as my shoulder's good, so that if the opponent does throw a punch, I just move it this much. I don't really wanna like that long, okay, unless you have that much space, but I don't wanna get too nuanced in the beginner piece because it'll just get too confusing. When you're throwing your jab, jab, cross, it's cool if it just comes back halfway. Jab, and then as this back foot trails back in, we throw our cross, we maintain position the whole time. Okay, our next piece of beginner technique, our pulls and our pops, okay? So we've established moving forward with our jab, jab, cross, okay? Now let's move into how to hit the brakes and move ourselves backwards, okay? Our pop, we're gonna do with both legs. Our pull, we're just gonna do with one leg, okay? I don't really care about words too much. Like you can call it a pull or a pop or a back step or a drop step, whatever it is that you wanna call it, I don't really care. There's a lot of different languages in the world that exist, you know, like in general, but also in the sport of fighting too. So when we're doing this, I call pops, moving both my feet out and then moving both my feet in. That's really important footwork because after I land a combination and they swing at me, I get myself out and then I get myself back in, okay? Boom, I throw a combination or whatever, or I'm just here in this stance. I wanna pop myself out, pop myself in. That's a really important thing to know how to do, okay? Again, the same idea where I load the front leg so I have big power moving myself backwards. Boom. Same thing here. When I move my right foot in, or when I plant on this back foot, I'm more capable of using more drive and more force because I'm really planted on that one. Another really important note is, what do I do with my heels, okay? A good rule of thumb is that you should never let your back heel touch the mat, okay? So like, if I'm in this stance, this shouldn't ever really be a situation. It should be like this. It doesn't need to be weird, like I don't need to be like this. Again, it's one of those things where you'll just naturally get better at being an athlete if you aren't. And if you are an athlete, you likely have some ability to be like, hey, this is really weird. This doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel super powerful. About there feels about right, okay? So when we're doing these, I don't let my back heels land flat on the mat. I just don't have as much drive when I do that. I move, I'm off of my back heel so I can really propel myself forward when I decide to move myself back in, okay? Here in a stance, pop, pop. Ceiling is here, my hands stay up. They don't do weird stuff. My hands stay up, and then I come back in. If you want to do it with some rock, do it with some rock. Pop, and then back in. Pop, and then back in. Okay? When we pull, it's just the back foot, but again, you have to like use your proprioception and your, athletic awareness around this is maybe too big for me to just move that back foot, okay? When I do this, here feels about good. If I go too much wider, I feel like I'm losing power. Just like if I was gonna jump in the air, like I'm not gonna jump in the air at my highest when my feet are this close. It's probably gonna be about like shoulder length, boom. But it's definitely not gonna be out here like this, okay? Same idea, you have to just like naturally feel how to be athletic in your own body, okay? That I can't really teach you, that you just have to rep and rep and rep and rep, all right? So we're here, my pull happens just with my back foot, and then when I bring this back in, I bring it back to where it was before, okay? So if I throw a combination, boom, I move my back foot, I move it back to where it was, okay? The advantage to this is it's just much quicker than moving both of my feet when I just use one, okay? Again, don't let this happen. You're moving, you're rocking, you're staying in a good stance. Boom, I push myself back, I push myself in. Back, in. Back, in. Pop both legs, pull, back leg. Pop both legs, pull just my back leg. And then I'm back to rocking. All right, guys. So I brought in my really pasty friend named Robin, who, you know, I know that you guys probably are like, oh, where's Elias? We miss Elias. Psych, no one's really saying that on the other side of the computer screen. But I grabbed the only person who has a pastier belly than I do. So hopefully it makes me look a little bit better. It might. Yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about angles. So those first few footwork techniques, wow, that was hard to say. First few footwork techniques, I got that all the way out. Are about position and about maintaining and closing space, okay? But now let's talk about our advantages, all right? Which are pretty much angles and like counters and all of that stuff. So Robin's in a good stance, okay? We're fighting each other. The most basic 2 footwork techniques that we need to get angles are super easy, okay? But there's a couple points that are really important, all right? So when I take my angle to my left, I step, I tiny drop in my shoulder. I don't like leave my shoulders like this, but I'm also not like flinging my shoulder big time here like this. Again, the reason that boxers get away with that and the reason why I get so irritated online about people being like, when you take an angle to the left, you got to dip your shoulder really hard. Those people are probably not dealing with people that can kick them in the mouth. If I over rotate here and Robin throws a right kick, I'm rotating myself right into the kick, and that's obviously no bueno. Okay, we're here like this, it's a tiny rotation. I'm still in danger of this rear side, but I'm not rotating so much to where if Robin goes to throw this, I have no like bailout or parachute that I can pull. When I'm here like this and I rotate tiny, even if he does throw this, I'm like underneath my body enough and not overcommitted so much to where that's really that much of a threat where I can't like pull the parachute, okay? And if it does happen, hopefully it only happens once to you, you learn, and then that never happens to you again, okay? But when I take my angle to my left, I step, I tiny commit my shoulder, and then rotate, okay? For some reason, this is really hard to understand for some people, and I kind of get it, okay? But when I'm here, and I step, and I rotate, some people rotate all the way so that I'm facing you and not facing Robin anymore. That's not good, okay?
That's the advantage.
Yeah, now Robin's winning there. When we're here like this, I step, I only rotate so much to where now my power is hitting Robin, okay? So imagine that you're gonna punch the shit out of this person after you step. When you step, I wouldn't rotate this much because now I can't punch the shit out of Robin, which is what I want to do, okay? When I step, boom, I fix it so that my line of power and my energy is moving at the thing that I want to punch the shit out of, which is Robin, always. So I can throw my punches after, okay? That's to our left, so it's here. Tiny step, little commit. I still pretend that that ceiling is above my head. I don't pop when I do anything. Boom, I rotate and I'm just at Robin. If I step bigger, I can rotate bigger because now I'm still facing Robin. If I step tiny, I don't rotate as much because that's going to mean that I wouldn't be facing Robin, okay? So always just think in the back of your head, whoever you're practicing this on or the bag, you want to punch the shit out of it, so do it in a way where you can do that afterwards, okay? The second footwork step that we're gonna do is, of course, in the other direction. This one's a little bit like less grounded. Like I like stepping this way because my feet don't leave the ground a ton. Like I rotate, but I always have one foot on the ground, which I like, okay? Like I like being hovering above the floor. When we go to our right, sometimes, not all the time, but it can feel like you're uprooting yourself a little bit too much, because the step, just like how when we were doing our in-stance rocking drill, when we push, both of my feet go this way, okay? But now we have a problem because, again, my power isn't facing the thing that I want to punch the shit out of.
Which is me.
Which is Robin, always, okay? When I step, I need to correct as I bring in my left leg so that my power is facing Robin, okay? So the footwork is here. I push off with my left foot, whether I gain that momentum with this rock or if I'm just good at doing it, just, you know, no movement in my body. I shoot myself over, I step, I'm in an awkward stance here, I can't do anything. Now I can because I'm re-established my athleticism by keeping my body underneath me. Where here, I like doing it with a little rock, push off, I'm facing Robin. If I push off and go here, not facing Robin, I push off, I face Robin, and then I can go to attack him, okay? So those are pretty much the two angles that we're gonna do. If you guys wanna practice a little bit more advanced, grab a partner or your bag or whatever. We're here, we're rocking, I step, I rotate, you could throw whatever punches you want. Afterwards, move yourself to your right, throw some more punches, move yourself to your left, throw some more punches, move yourself to your right, more punches, left, more punches, sidestep, rotate, sidestep, rotate, sidestep. So pretty simple, but obviously like you do those at the right time, in the right scenarios, you're gonna punch the shit out of what it is that you wanna punch the shit out of. All right, guys, okay, so nice job hanging along. I know that that's kind of a lot of techniques, but I do need you guys understanding this before you guys head off into the intermediate and the advanced stuff. All right, so last couple things here. We're gonna go over how to move ourselves backwards and just stay safe without throwing any punches, okay? So a drill that I used to do a lot back in the day, because I used to pop myself high whenever I would start to move myself backwards, or if my feet were too narrow, like it's very easy to get over your legs like this, which is how I used to fight because I used to just do kickboxing and not any of the other sports like, you know, wrestling and jiu-jitsu. But when we're here like this, I take tiny gallops back, and then when I decide to circle, whichever direction I decide to circle to, I step and my feet are doing this, okay? That's an okay motion to do. You have to keep yourself safe as you're doing this. You don't get to circle out and just like do whatever the hell you want with your arms. You'll get hit by someone that's good. You don't get to circle out, popping way high like this. You're not gonna be super reactive because you're not glued to the floor. When we're moving, I take a couple steps back. When I'm practicing my circle outs, everything stays tight. I keep my feet on, like hovering the floor like I was talking about, boom, and I circle myself out, okay? I'll do this how I want you guys to do it first. A couple steps back, whether they're mechanical or they're gallops, whether they're these or these gallops, I don't care. Choose a side to circle to. Stay protected, especially in the direction that you're going towards. That's mega important. When I'm circling left, I never circle like this. That's how you run into things and get caught in like head-on collisions with like kicks and punches, okay? When I circle, everything stays closed. I keep my feet like this, not super high. I circle all the way out. I'll go forward and then do the same thing here. So I'm just going in little half circles. Forward, backwards, circle out, forward, backwards, circle out, forward, backwards, circle out, forward, backwards, circle out. And that's how I want you guys doing that, okay? Just really important in obviously being able to circle yourselves out when you need to. Another thing that I really get irritated with hearing is these reset steps, or whatever that dude calls them, where they're L steps, oh, rhythm steps, okay? Rhythm steps are cool to do, but you can't do them when you're in range of someone that can punch you, okay? This is a totally okay thing to do. It's not a totally okay thing to do if I L step, land, and this person is right here, okay? That would be the equivalent of like the guy standing right in front of me and me being like, guess what, now I'm kicking, and the person's gonna punch you, okay? When we're here and we wanna use our reset steps, because very rarely can anyone stay in this type of stance the entire time. And if you can stay in that type of stance the entire time, you will fight someone that understands footwork and how to move like how I do, and they're gonna unroot your ass from the floor and then be able to beat your ass, okay? You have to be able to move, bang, throw your punches, gallops, rocking, and then when you need to be able to reset here and then find yourself fighting again. Okay, boom, reset, find myself fighting again. That's a totally okay, natural thing to do. We all just in general have like little ticks that we do, or like, you know, throughout life that kind of just help us reset. This is one of those things. The biggest caution that I'll give to you guys when you are resetting or L stepping, which is just my left goes to my right, and then my left comes in, is you can't do it if the person on this step can hit you. And this exemplifies what I was talking about before. When I'm off the floor, which I am right now, I can't move in any direction until my foot is planted again. That's really important. Here I can't really move. Now I can move. If I do something on one leg right in front of someone, I can't move in any direction if they decide to punch me. And that's when those L step or rhythm steps kind of, you know, start to become a problem. But if I have tons of space and I'm like, let me just reset here, boom, reset them. Those actually I would definitely encourage you guys to be able to do. But like I said, just know the danger. Okay guys, so that's the beginner piece. All technical stuff. We went over our rocking and stance, stepping off to our sides, okay? Gallops forward, gallops backwards, our jab, jab, cross with our mechanical type footwork, our pulls and our pops. Really important to know how to do. Our angles, just our two angles, our left angle and our right side step, keeping our power pointed at the thing that we want to punch the shit out of. How to back shuffle and then rotate yourselves out, okay? Back shuffle, rotate yourselves out. And then the last piece, just because I wanted to address it because it's like a really popular thing, is this L step, rhythm step, how to not do that in range, boom, so that you're safe and you never get caught on one foot in a range where someone can hit you, okay? That's the beginner course. Practice all that stuff. Intermediate, we're gonna get a lot more into different types of techniques, switching, all of that stuff, and then, of course, a lot of conceptual stuff.